Good morning, students. Today we're going to learn about evolution through natural selection. So after today, students, you'll be able to identify concepts of selection. Selection is what are your odds of surviving in a specific environment. Selective pressure. So the amount of pressure that the environment is placing on you, on your survival chance. And its effects on populations. So you're going to learn about how chance of survival and environmental pressures can affect populations of organisms. Students will be able to think of genetic frequencies of traits can vary in populations. So remember, frequency is percentage of a population with a trait. Over time, some traits will become more useful than others. And so the percentage of organisms with this trait can be influenced. Behavioral objective stays the same as stated by Ms. Butler. And so the vocabulary for today. So selection. Selection is the chance of survival of an organism when you have a specific trait in a specific environment. And so an example would be, what are the chances of a white fur bear surviving in the Arctic? That's an example. What are the chances of survival? A selective pressure. That is a pressure placed on the organism by the environment that can affect your chance of survival. So for example, how much food is there? Is there shelter available? Such as those examples. Evolution. So evolution is literally, a way to think about it is change over time of a species. So over time, species will change through generations. And this is based off of traits. As traits are passed on from generation to generation, this will change a species. Now, natural selection is the process that controls evolution. So some of you have heard of the word survival of the fittest. Now, you need to be careful with this word. That does not mean that the most swole and brolic person is the one who's going to survive. Sometimes it depends on what traits you have. Sometimes the environment doesn't favor being big, swollen jack because you can't fit through narrow corridors, example. The way you should think about it is the best adapted organism survives to reproduce. So the best adapted. You are the best adapted one for this environment. Congratulations, you survive. And then you get to make babies and pass on your traits. Those of you who didn't survive to adulthood, sorry, natural selection. Frequency. Once again, it's percent of a population with a specific gene or trait. Now, there are cases where after natural selection happens, no one survives. Everyone dies. And that is the end of the line. That is the end of a species. And so you're extinct. And so now we have a new big question. How do traits and the environment interact? So the interaction between trait and environment. So we're going to answer two questions for today. How does the environment help a trait being passed on to an organism's offsprings? That is natural selection. And then number two, how does a trait spread within the species? I'm pretty sure most of us can answer that question right now. Reproduction. The more you reproduce, the more babies you have. That means that more of a population will have this trait. Moving on. Evolution through natural selection. This is not a Well, actually, yes, it's a modern idea. It is an idea written by a very elderly gentleman, as shown right here, with a very nice beard, Charles Darwin. In 1859, he published a book. It's a little hard to see here. It's Origin of Species Through Natural Selection. And so, just like what you did in your CERs, Darwin had a claim. He claimed that his idea of natural selection has led to evolutionary change within a species. The evidence he used, there is a lot of evidence. And so one example I'm going to pull out is, some of you might have heard of beaks of finches in the Galapagos Island. I believe you have done a little activity back in 6th grade where you use tools and you try to grab as much seeds as you can. That is the beaks of finches. Now, Darwin, as he traveled around the world, studied fossils, he observed birds and other animals. And so that is his evidence. Now, while he was traveling, he has to interpret his evidence. And so he came up with this very rough idea, 4 steps. Within a population, 1, more offsprings are born than can survive. So more babies are born, and in the wild, we are pretty sure that not everyone will survive to become an adult. This can be due to starvation, predation, bad luck in general. And number 2, within this huge amount of offspring being born, there are variety of traits. No offspring is the same. We, for example, we are unique. I'm different than my brother. I'm different than my sister. We are all unique. We are not the same. If you look in this diagram right here, not one beak is the same. These are different beak types. Now imagine this. Some beaks are bigger than the other. So for example, this, we'll go with this one. This big beak right here. Bird 1 can have a 6 centimeter wide beak, and bird number 2 can have a 5.6 centimeter beak. So there is variety of a trait. Number 3, offsprings compete for survival amongst themselves. An example I can think of is this: competition. When you eat dinner with your sibling, I'm sure if your favorite food is on the table, you will both fight over who eats the most. That is a classic example. And last but not least, when you finally, if you reach adulthood, the best adapted offspring will survive to reproduce. So now you, the most well-adapted one, became an adult. You have reached adulthood. It is now your time to find a mate, make babies, and pass on your traits. And then the cycle will continue again. These 4 steps is a cycle, and these 4 steps makes up natural selection, as stated by Darwin. I'm going to show you an example. And so step 1, I call it overproduction, because more offsprings are born than can survive. You overproduce. We're going to go with Darwin's example of finches. Each finch, 2 finch parents, will have 3 to 5 finches per nest. So imagine, the longer you live, the more offsprings you have. So the best adapted one will survive. When the eggs hatch, I ask you this question: how many will survive to adulthood? Perhaps 1, maybe none. Another example is frog eggs. Frogs literally spawn hundreds and thousands of eggs, and I guarantee you it's pretty hard to find a frog. Not many will survive. Puppies. Now, the pets that we own, they will definitely survive. All of them should. But in the wild, I ask you this: Mama dog and daddy dog can only watch over so many of these puppies. How many of them will survive in the wild? Bunnies. Bunnies, they're absolutely delicious. Some wolves and foxes will love chasing after them. I ask you this question: how many of these bunnies will survive to adulthood? Not many, maybe none of them. That is step 1, overproduction. Step 2, variation. So we're talking about frequencies. There are a variety of traits within the offsprings. So an example with the finches will be, here are 4 types of beaks. These are 4 different types. Each type can have a variety. An example is length. 2.5 centimeters is not the same as 3 centimeters. That is variety. Sometimes having a slightly bigger beak can be helpful, or it can be harmful. It depends on the environment. But there is variation, variety. Sharpness of a beak, another example. It can be pointed or it can be blunt. Width, 1 centimeter versus 3 centimeters. So size, measurement, even color. Notice in this example, these are all the same shell type, but there is different color on the shell. That is variation. That is a variety. Hence why all offsprings are unique. Step 3, competition. Offsprings will compete with their own, sibling and non-sibling. So for example, all the birds on an island will fight over food. This is an example of the selective pressure that the environment has on you. Food. Now we're going to think about this variety. My beak is just big enough for me to grab a certain seed. Maybe my brother, who happens to have a slightly smaller beak, he's out of luck. He can't get the seed. So he better find another food source. If he can't, too bad, you dead. Now, if you could, congratulations, you have a chance of surviving. Now I'm going to ask you this. How much of that specific seed is on the island? Can you compete with your brothers and sisters and neighbor for food? Can you compete? Can you survive long enough? That is the question. Then finally, fitness, also known as survival of the fittest. Can you live long enough to make it to adulthood and reproduce? This is the end game. You need to survive from a baby to an adult. Once you become an adult, that means that the traits that you have, it is good enough to get you through to maturity. And there you will be able to reproduce and have offsprings. And these offsprings will have maybe all, maybe some, remember, 50-50 of parent, will have the traits that you have. And last but not least, if no one survives, then fortunately, extinction. And so in a nutshell, I have talked to you about the steps of natural selection. Here is a diagram. Natural selection is a continuous cycle. It goes from generation to generation to generation. And over time, selective pressure will change. This generation, perhaps the seed is pretty big. Next generation, like, oh wait, the food source suddenly changed. This cycle will go on forever. This is why evolution will always be a driving force in life. And so Ms. Butler has provided you a video. Watch the video carefully. Answer the questions on the Google Doc. She has also provided you a model, a game, that will show you natural selection in a model computer setting. Good luck.